Hey, welcome back. Yvonne Wakefield's YouTube channel, where I read from Babe in the Woods, Building a Life One Log at a Time, which is the first in the series of the other two Babe in the Woods, Self-Portrait and Path of Totality. So tonight I'm going to finish the second chapter, 21, and I just want to recap 21. So I met this logger who had a logging accident which kind of smashed up his face, and he ran a secondhand store. I ended up buying some tools from him. He talked to me about where there was a truck I could buy, and I ended up buying this old truck. So now I'm going to continue in that chapter on page 157, and which is interesting because when I was writing the book, Zachary B. Taylor, the character who will be discussed in here, I was writing it. I took a break. I was in my Washington studio and I was riding my bicycle down this road, and there was this woman who rescued cats, and she had this little dog in her yard, and I went, I like that dog because he matched my other dog, and I was looking for another dog for my other dog. So anyway, I got this dog whose name was Mocha. And as I was writing the book and describing Zachary B. Taylor, my little dog Mocha, who was little then, now he's 12, became Zachary. So I named him Zachary after the character in the book. And it's warm now, so he's wearing his Hawaiian scarf. So we're going to go to chapter 57. You can lay down, honey bun. There you go. There you go, sweetheart. There you go. We're going to do chapter 21, page 157. And I just gave you the preface, so here we go. One evening, after Jim has gone for the weekend, Roxy shows up. She's ridden a pearl violet blue Suzuki all the way from Minnesota, her visit expected. My last letter to her included one of my hand-drawn maps. My asshole feels like it got kicked up inside my throat. Roxy rubs her butt, and I help her pack down to my campsite. She pulls a Salem from her jeans jacket, lights it, drops the match in the turf. Too many damn trees around here. She looks past my little tent across the creek. Where's the fucking bathroom? I got a pee so bad I can taste it. I grind the match head with my foot and point to the brush. You got any fucking toilet paper? I retrieve a roll from the foot locker, unspool a wad, and hand it over. Don't look. Roxy heads into the forest, crouches behind an old-growth fir. She returns to the campsite empty-handed. Where's the toilet paper? Where I peed. Go pick it up and put it there. I point to the blackened ash framed by rocks. Fuck no. Roxy lights another cigarette, this time flicking the match into the fire pit between us. Together we read the directions on her new tent, then pitch it beside mine. Afterwards we mix cups of Tang with vodka Roxy has packed, and then we take our drinks up to the building site. Fucking lot of work. Roxy looks up at the rising walls and drops her butt in the dirt. Why didn't you just buy a double wide? Back at the campfire, we mix more drinks and share a bag of Doritos Roxy has pulled from her motorcycle saddlebags. After the Dorito bag is empty, we are in our cups. I ask Roxy, want to go to a flea market in Sumter tomorrow? In the morning, before heading out to the old-growth mining town about 60 miles away, half of that distance we later learn on a gravel road, we drink Taster's Choice by the fire. Sorry I don't have any bacon. I stir granules into a cup of boiling water and then hand it to Roxy. Tastes like shit. She spits out the first sip, sets the plastic cup on a stump, and lights the first mentholated intake of her day. There's a bottle of biodegradable soap and a towel down by the creek if you want to wash up. Where in the hell are you expecting to plug in my fucking blow dryer? She squints downstream. I know she's joking because the entire time we lived together, neither of us used one. Our long, damp hair occasionally froze stiff as we waited for the school bus. The toilet's over there. I point towards a boulder, half expecting a buck to stare back. Remember that was the boulder where I was when there was a huge rainstorm? That's off script. Okay, back on script. You want me to take a dump for the fucking world to see? Roxy scans the woods and decides to wait to use the restroom at the Prairie City gas station. She flicks her butt into the fire and takes another sip. Shit. You know I drink my coffee with sugar. She holds out her cooling cup. I've got some honey. I retrieve a smiling plastic bear from the footlocker in the tent and hand it over. Got a spoon? I pick up a twig, dust it off, and hand it over. Roxy stirs her coffee, drinks it in one gulp, then rolls a couple, zips them into the side jean pocket, and we mount her motorcycle parked on the road above my campsite. Roxy is relieved. Prairie City is behind us, and Highway 26 is a smooth asphalt memory once we hit unpaved roads under construction. By early afternoon, it is in the high 90s, and we are dusty and thirsty by the time we reach Sumter, which is crowded with people and deals. Rows of tables and canvas awnings, vending booths spread up and down and across the bumpy street. I purchase, without even bargaining, another draw knife for $2, as well as some crockery bowls, a hoe, a rake. In a little general store, I buy 4 bottles and snacks. Open them for you? Yes, 2 please. The cashier hands me 2 open bottles. I put the others in my knapsack. We sit on the curb drinking, wishing for beer we are not old enough yet to buy in Oregon. You remember when we drank that shit for breakfast? Rocky says, taking a long pull, sighing, and then burping Mountain Dew. A shadow falls over us. I got something better than that. We look straight on at a pair of scuffed cowboy boots, then up into the baby face of a man twice our age. Follow me, he says, our new friend, after a brief curtside introduction. We leave the empties in the gutter and trail. Zachary B. Taylor at your service, ma'am. In his mustard yellow Ford pickup truck parked far enough away from the crowded flea market, no one could hear us to scream for help. Zachary B. Taylor said we could call him Zach. Remember that I said this is how I named my little Zachy? That we could call him Zach. With a swift thwack on the bumper, he pries each bottle open and the caps land in a piff of dust next to the threadbare tires of his tired pickup. Here you are, sweethearts. Zach hands us each a frothy-mouthed Ham's. Have a sit, he points to his tailgate. We do, and the truck bed squeaks. Zach works a cattle ranch near Round Rock Creek Butte. But I own a little cabin in Greenhorn, he says with pride, measured in a smile behind a man who owns property. What began as a tent town in the late 1800s evolved into a thriving gold mining town with a post office, general store, 2 hotels, several saloons, and a waterworks. Now Greenhorn is a shamrackle ghost town. Go there on the weekends to work my claim. Zach doesn't say if he's seeking the mother lode. I don't ask. Neither will I answer truthfully when he asks, so where you sweet things live? Boise, I say. We just broke from the church, and my sister and I are on a mission to learn everything we did not learn as Mormons. Actually, this is the first alcohol we have ever drank, Roxy interrupts. Drunk, I think, the correct conjugation is drunk because it is present tense, not past tense, and we are still drinking this beer. Maybe it should really be, this is the first alcohol we have ever been drinking. I correct, rather piously. Roxy shrugs. Zach takes a long slurp, muffles and says, "What the hell you girls talking about?" He wipes his hands down the side of his tight jeans. Got something even better in here. He walks to the cab, bends into the open window, unlatches the glove compartment, and returns with a fifth. "This here will put hair on your chest." "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to, no offense." Zach holds out the bottle, gives us an apologetic grin. Roxy pulls out her t-shirt and looks down. "Don't see any." Ouch! Where the fuck? I elbow her in the ribs a second time. "No offense taken." I cut her off. Zach twists open a bottle of Jack Daniels. "My sister and I are out to learn about the marvelous works and wonders of the world we have been sheltered from seeing. I feel it necessary to explain, as I'm hoping Zach sees beyond the tank tops we wear under open cotton flannel shirts, and that he thinks we have arrived in Sumter in a wood-paneled station wagon instead of on a purple motorcycle. The illusion seems to work because he says, 'Bless you.' Roxy fakes another sneeze. The number she has been palming falls next to her feet. "What's that?" she points. Zach takes a drink and then bends down to investigate. "Here you go, gals." He hands Roxy the bottle before he picks up the pointy cigarette, sniffs it, and declares, "I think it's a marijuana, like them hippies smoke, 'cause I don't smell it like tobacco that I roll. What do you gals think?" He hands the joint to Roxy. She hands me the bottle. I've felt this burn before. "Platte Valley?" I smack my lips. Though the label says it's Jack Daniels. Kinda like whiskey, but sweeter. Just as butt-kicking, though. "Thank you very much, Zach." Now my education includes alcohol named after a man. I give him the bottle and a Cupid doll smile. "You are an upstanding teacher." I have absolutely no idea. I've never even smoked a cigarette. Roxy holds out the joint at arm's length like the foreign object it isn't. "I don't know either," I join the lie-in. "Well, why don't we just see?" Zach fishes in his breast pocket, pulls out a long wooden match, scratches it on his boot heel. "I think this is how you do it." He touches the lighted match to the joint, inhales, holds his breath, and coughs. Roxy and I follow suit, asking our teachers, "Is this the right way?" before we each take a seasoned hit. "I think so. At least that's how the Mexican hippies do it in the movies." "You mean Cheech and Chong?" Roxy asks excitedly, taking the joint from Zach. "Yeah, the ones with the Mexicans with Chinese-sounding names." "Oh, they're far out. Smoke Doobie's biggest Polish sausages," Roxy says, and I poke her in the ribs again before she can blow our cover. We smoke and pass the bottle of whiskey, making small talk, which minimizes even more after Roxy accidentally happens upon another one of them pointy cigarettes. The three of us sit mutely, inhaling and swallowing sweet whiskey on the tailgate, our eyes focused on the cloud dust just beyond, signaling the exodus of flea marketers heading out after a day of bargaining. We are shoulder to shoulder, Zach comfortably in the middle, like Zach right here, my little dog. "Sister, sister!" Ouch! "What the fuck are you jabbing me for again?" "Sister!" I poke Roxy until she sits upright because she is resting too comfortably and too long on Zach's thighs. "It is time we continue on our journey." "Uh-huh." Roxy takes a final drink, pries her sagging body off of Zach, hands him the bottle. He slides off the tailgate with a squeak. "Where you girls headed?" "We might just stop in Baker for the night instead of going all the way back to Boise," I lied to Zach, who looks crestfallen that we did not accept his invitation. to see his cabin in Greenhorn. Roxy leans unsteadily against the tailgate and thanks again for teaching us about alcohol and marijuana. Zachary B. Taylor is no longer at our service as we smile, wave bye-bye, and stagger down the empty streets of Sumter. We find Roxy's motorcycle exactly where she parked it 3 hours before, now casting a bruising shadow over 2 glistening green Mountain Dew empties. Neither of us wears a helmet, and our long brown hair flies and flaps as gravel spits behind the motorcycle tires. It's so warm, we've ditched our flannels and wear tank tops, glad for our aviator glasses because the little wingets sting and splat as we whiz by. The bike is skewed off center by the hoe and rake tied to the seat behind me. Flea market bowls wedged between my thighs, the draw knife arches out my back pocket. We all managed to hang together over rocky and asphalt roads until one of the last bends to the cabin. 2 bowls shift, fly off, bounce once, and land in pieces. Stop! I hit Roxy in the back. She throttles down and then gets off the bike, stabilizing it for me, and kicks the stand. Stooped over, gathering pottery shards, I stand upright when I hear a commotion below in the judge's meadow. A man waves his arms and scales the hillside, heading towards our way. It is the judge. He crowns the berm, steps onto the road. After introducing him to Roxy, he invites us to join him. In the lush, flat part of the meadow below the road is a gathering of 50 and 60-year-olds reclining in nylon mesh lawn chairs. Everyone glued to binoculars, and every so often there is an excited gasp and, "Oh, and God, did you see that?" An antelope herd filters through and in and out of the tree light across from this impromptu cocktail party entertained by distant, horny guests. "Care for some?" asks Barbara, the judge's wife, who comes up here only when there is company to entertain. We accept stiff, icy vodka gimlets in engraved crystal glasses. Barbara, whose appears everything her husband isn't, manicured, buffed, coiffed, and painstakingly proper, reaches into one of 3 large coolers. She produces a chilled plate perfectly patterned with smoked oysters on toothpicks with tutus. By sunset, the antelope have all trickled into the trees. Cigarettes glow, ice clinks, and off-colored jokes bring on low murmur, then high-pitched laughter, and then finally tisk-tisk as a result. This party is either winding down or just getting started. The judge stands, stretches, lights a cigarette, and asks, "You girls want me to drive you back up?" "Nah, we're all right," I lie, slurring. Roxy and I stumble uphill after thanking our hostess. "Look like boogers. How in the hell could you eat them?" "It's an acquired taste," I tell my friend as she rides her bike and tells me to get the fuck on. The little motorcycle bounces up the mountain. I hang onto Roxy with one hand, the other I use to stabilize the unruly load. Roxy revs the motor on the steep. The bike backfires. The smoked oysters I ate repeat. While Roxy is in her changing into warmer clothes, I build a fire and then bring out bags of Planters salted peanuts and Mother's pink and white frosted animal cookies, which we consume along with warm Mountain Dew, catching each other up on our lives. Only mine has really seemed to move on since we shared a double wide. The next day, Roxy gets back to Minnesota to her seasonal job in a convenience store. I follow behind her in the tank as she motorcycles down the mountain. We stop beside the parked gremlin before Roxy sets out on the roadways. She declares, "Will marry my tongue to my ass over the next 3 days." You still driving that piece of shit? Roxy smacks the gremlin's hood. Only piece of shit I got. Besides this, I pat Tank's door. We hug goodbye. Roxy heads her bike east. I steer my newest piece of shit west to the town for needed supplies so I can get back to building. All right, well, thank you for listening to Chapter 21. Next week will be Chapter 22, Letter Book. We are 3/4 of the way through Babe in the Woods, building a life one log at a time. And in between that, we do our tour, and I, my YouTube producer, do our little sink tales, which kind of cements the pieces together and keeps you upgraded. So again, it is getting warm out there. It's 90 degrees here. Stay hydrated. See you next week. Bye-bye.